Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. I'm Gio and I'm alongside Adamo to bring you the first day of our transfer daily, where we will pretty much be recapping all the latest transfer rumors brought to you, of course, by different sources in Italy and so forth. But today we're pretty much going to be recapping what happened during last week. But from now on, you can expect just the news of the day starting from tomorrow. But let's get right into it because, of course, first of all, Mihajlovic has signed his contract at 2 years. As we had mentioned a few days ago, it's official. And of course, he wanted to bring some Sampdoria players with him to Milan for the following season. These include Eder, Decivesti, Soriano. All pretty decent players, if you ask me. But question is, Adamo, if you had to pick one of these three, who would it be for you?
Well, I'd probably go with Soriano, mainly for the fact that Milan have a gaping hole in their midfield that nobody else can play make besides De Jong. And De Jong is not supposed to be the playmaker. He's supposed to be able to defend. He's supposed to be able to intercept passes. So when he has to play make as well, it kind of interferes with his job. So I think if I had to choose anybody, probably Soriano. And young, very talented, can pretty much do it all, and is really specified in playmaking.
Yeah, well said. And also, Mihajlovic showed some interest in Obiang as well. But it seems like he has reached personal terms with West Ham. However, nothing's really official yet. That means he still didn't put pen to the paper to sign the contract. Therefore, Mihajlovic is still maybe trying to convince him a bit to change his mind and see if he could get something done at Milan in that little short time that he has before he signs the contract. Would you guys like to see Obiang at Milan? Of course, as usual, leave it in the comment section. Now, moving on, Galliani is still contacting Empoli for Valdifiori, according to Sport Italia. They mentioned that Milan could potentially have some sort of agreement, trade, where they will pretty much give 2 to 3 million plus Saponara for Valdifiori. Of course, Valdifiori showed some very promising things this season with Empoli, and Empoli just wants Saponara. We have mentioned it several times on the channel for a few weeks now. They just want him, and they're actually willing to pay around 4 million for him. So if Milan can get some sort of deal for Valdifiori, well, pretty nice to see if they could get it done. But of course, more news to come on that in the coming days. Moving on, Football Investment Fund, Doyen Sports, will be planning to contribute to the building of a winning team. That is, of course, Milan. With our Mr. B now holding a big stake in Milan, things could be more possible than they were back then, where pretty much lots of names are going around. Big time on names like Kondogbia from Monaco or Gilavogi, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but him coming from Wolfsburg, both being defensive mids, something that Milan definitely needs. As we said before, De Jong, yeah, he's there, but you need someone with a good backup to replace him, especially if Milan doesn't renew his contract. But speaking of which, Mihajlovic actually mentioned that he wants to keep De Jong at Milan for the next season. So this could be a good step forward for him and Milan, but we'll see what happens. Now, Adamo, based on those two players I just mentioned from Doyen Sports, who would you prefer between Kondogbia and Gilavogi?
Well, probably for Kondogbia, mainly because it's easier to say his name, one.
Yes.
Two, he is a bit younger, I believe, and well, somewhat, I don't know, about a year or two, but he is a very, very good young French player. That French national team being very much so stacked up, and he's one of the key players in that team. He just has everything you kind of want, and we're going to need at least one of them because although we may be keeping De Jong, we're going to be losing players like hopefully Muntari and SCN, which were the players that would back up De Jong if need be.
Yeah, Sen leaving there already a good step forward for Milan. Now they got to get rid of Muntari and the other players. But moving on, of course, some more transfer rumors, lots of them during that past week. And of course, the next one is about Dani Alves because, of course, the newly crowned Champions League winner Barcelona, getting that money. And of course, at 32 years old, still has a lot to offer, as we had seen on Saturday against Juventus and just in general all season round. It seems like Milan are really interested in the player. his agent confirming it, himself saying that it would be a pleasure to join Milan. But now it all comes down to how really interested and serious Milan are to move towards the player, because of course 32 years old, as I mentioned, he wants 6 million per season, so it's not the cheapest player out there, but of course if you want quality you gotta pay for it. And at 32 years old, some people will deny the fact that Milan need to spend that much on salary at that age. So once again, leave your opinion in the comments section. I think it will be a great addition if we're actually gonna be spending a lot of money this summer, and money is not an issue, then why not throw him in there and definitely fill in that role where really at right back, Abate hasn't been doing well, to be honest, and we need someone with certainty quality. Of course, there's other offers from other teams coming in for Dani Alves. It's not only Milan, so the agent still needs to evaluate with Dani Alves other options before actually deciding. Now, of course, Adamo, one of the few stories that's been going around for a long time is also Ibrahimovic. Milan really want him. It seems like Berlusconi actually really wants him, mentioned a few times in the past week. Galliani meeting up with Raiola over the weekend. According to Sky, they're actually offering him a 3-year contract worth 6.5 million per season. Pretty good numbers once again for him. However, PSG said that they want to keep him at the club. And what do you make out of all this? Will Ibrahimovic be a player that you would like to see back at Milan, and you think he could really make them come back in that Champions League action?
I honestly love Ibrahimovic. As you mentioned with the Champions League, the Serie A is only getting stronger. With the league only getting stronger, you're going to need players that are going to impact the squad, obviously. That's why they're going after players like Dani Alves and Ibrahimovic. You mentioned it shortly there. I wouldn't mind. I would love Ibrahimovic and Dani Alves, but it all depends on our budget. That's how I'm kind of judging all this. Because if we can just spend the money, then why not? I don't get why we wouldn't. But if we have a limited budget, like under 50 million, I wouldn't. Just because if we're going to get Ibrahimovic, that means we lose out on another 2 to 3 players just because of his wages alone. But I'm assuming that with all these investments, and hopefully Berlusconi will spend some as well, we'll have enough money to fund these players, and I'd love to have players like Ibrahimovic and Dani Alves, because they'll practically build a team for us with Mihajlovic that will kind of almost not guarantee Champions League, but will be definitely fighting for Champions League, which we haven't done in like 2 seasons now.
Yeah, investments are definitely a vital part of our summer, and also some dead weight that we could definitely get rid of. Just to exclude those wages will be something good, where we can obviously put them somewhere else, where obviously it's going to be with players that we actually going to use and are going to be really vital at this part. I'm hinting there towards Muntari, Bonera, Mexes, all those guys. Wages that pretty much could be used towards somewhere else. But finally, we'll wrap this transfer rumor recap, of course, with the story of today, because Sky mentioned that Galliani is in Portugal to discuss about Jackson Martinez, and of course, as well as Brahimi. Now, Jackson Martinez, center forward, playing for Porto, 28 years old. Lots to offer, many goals. He's just a monster on the field, really, all times. But he will be pretty much going at something around 30+ million euros, which is, once again, a really big price tag for him. But, once again, as I said, you got to pay for the quality. So he's been reported, once again, Galliani going in Portugal to discuss about him, as well as Brahimi. He's 25 years old, playing as a left wing, and he's owned by Doin Sports. So once again, there could be some sort of agreement there between the parties. But Adamo, what do you make of this? If this Porto duo could actually come to Milan, do you see something really good happening?
Well, definitely. I mean, Jackson Martinez, obviously a top quality player that a lot of top quality clubs want. A Champions League quality player, a player that can bring you to the Champions League, a player that can bring you far into the Champions League. And as well for Brahimi, obviously a bit younger than Jackson Martinez. He's got a lot of flair on him. I'm not sure where he'd exactly fit in the squad, because he usually will play somewhere around left wing, attacking mid, somewhere around there. So I guess it already depends on our formation and who's in and who's out. But both of those players, I pretty much take any of the players that were mentioned in this entire video, because Milan's squad has so many holes and so many future holes that will be there when players leave. And even with the players that we do have, we still have many holes. As I mentioned, with players like Montolivo, for example, yes, he's inconsistent. That being said, he still leaves that hole there. So hopefully a number of players can come in to kind of fill all these holes that I've been mentioning.
Yeah, well said. So guys, that pretty much wraps up our transfer rumor recap for today. As we said, many names on the list, but tomorrow we'll be back for some more as we will continue our transfer daily. So don't forget to subscribe to Rossoneri TV to stay updated with everything AC Milan, especially during this transfer window that will soon start. And of course, many names moving towards Milan and what we expect a great mercato for the Rossoneri. Thank you for watching. This has been Gio and Adamo signing off from Rossoneri TV. And as usual, Forza Milan!